But I went to the website and went that way. Marty's here. Okay. Yep.
We recording yet?
We are now.
Okay, well, we might as well call this meeting to order. I have another commitment that apparently I got to get to, but we'll see how we do here first, I guess. Okay. Sally sent a list out to each of you of the tentative changes to the budget. She sent you new sheets for your budget book and moved everything over to preliminary. So what would you like to review?
Well, I have, how do we start this?
Well, we've been, I don't know, we went through this once completely, and Sally tracked the changes that you asked for. So what do you want to do? Review the changes that she made, or?
Yeah, and
Right there.
yeah,
That's the one pager that we had, the list of changes to the budget.
Yes.
Printed all of them off, and I'm not sure I have them labeled right, so I just want to make sure.
so I have a few questions on, about where we made the changes. So on, I guess going down, the 11, sorry, I didn't know that this was how this was going to go. So hold on a second. Let me just find out. I can find my question.
Well, is there a way that this is easier for you to get through?
I can just start at the top from the kitchen question, that 12,500, 11,718,22,000.
Yes.
I saw that on the capital list, but is it, and I see that it's not in the budget, which I'm glad to see. I don't think, I'm not ready for that to be in the budget, but how does it have a number?
Well, it was my understanding that was I have in my notes that that's the number that was discussed.
No, I mean, how does it have a budget number? The 11,718,20,000.
Because that's where it would go if we decided to put it in, right?
Right, that's where it would come.
That's where it would go.
Right.
Right. So would that be a noted capital request?
That's where it is in the budget.
It is,
in the capital
it is
request.
It's
just
noted
at the
in-
back.
It's noted in there, but it was removed as not funded.
Yeah, I think
Listed as not funded.
it was an added piece to our conversation the time around, the last time we met, because we didn't have those numbers before for the last meeting. So that's, we're making note of it now so that we have record of it and that it's something that we've talked about. Am I right in that, Sally?
Yes.
Okay.
That's great. What I got confused about was that number over there on the left, that
The
budget
account
number,
number.
but that's where it would go.
Correct.
Got it. Then, yes, the further discussion and the 2,500 at the bottom, I was just curious about the one that was added, the new line item.
Right. That came actually through the chief from Beth and Anna.
Uh-huh.
And they can speak to it. I was asked to add that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's specifically, and Anna, you go ahead, take that if you want.
Well, so we just went through this community engagement process with EO 203, and there's a series of 18 recommendations that we should be getting to work on. And Beth and I spoke to the chief about that and about the fact that that would take some funding in order to accomplish that. Not only in terms of, so the community engagement activities line, we asked for $2,500 there, just, funding for those activities as we begin to implement that initiative. And then the additional money added to the education workshops line in the police budget goes to support some of the added training that has also come forward in that initiative. I think generally speaking, when we, develop initiatives, if we want to show follow through, we have to fund them. So that was the recommendation there.
Got it. Wonderful. And the bottom line item that goes under, is that under police?
They both should.
Yes.
Is that true, Sally? I mean, it just says new line item, so.
Yes.
Under police.
Yes, they're both under police.
Okay, if you don't mind.
I think it
waiting
just
one
doesn't have
second
a
so I can
number
find
yet.
it.
Right, I have to look up the correct number to assign.
Got
to.
it.
No, and we really appreciate that because I think that there's a lot of good work that'll happen and it's nice to have that funded. So,
Thank you very much. Those are my, my questions. I guess my only other question on that is, for the 6,500 in the publicity line, do we need to have further discussion on that at this point, or can it happily sit there?
If you're asking, it can happily sit there. I know that I was asked to leave it in there, but that the purpose was unknown at this point in time.
I think community development, promotion, publicity, same thing it was before.
You don't,
Because
you don't-
was there ever anything in the previous budget, Sally, that said next to that, that budget line, chamber?
nope.
No, not in the budget books, no.
Right. So I think as long as it can just stay there looking that same way, I'm comfortable with that.
I was looking, a couple of things. I had thought we had discussed funding the safety repairs for the playground on Buck Street. Did I imagine that?
No, we are going to try to get that funded by an outside source.
Okay.
So therefore, is my understanding of that then, that it's listed as a capital request. So we have it there. We're hoping for the outside source, and if we don't get the outside source, we don't have funding for it.
That is
We-
correct. Or you would
Okay.
take it out of contingency. Yeah.
Okay. And, oh, you know what? I can't see this. I printed this out and I don't have color. But, so on the very last page of the, I'm confused by, so if there's a, don't look at me like that, Anna. I remain confused. In the capital requests, for example, on the street cleaning, we still have the figure in there for the purchase.
Oh, but it was dropped.
It's not in the preliminary budget.
Oh,
Changed to red, which you didn't print in red.
correct.
So the request is listed and it lists in the tentative, then we changed it. So in the preliminary budget, it shows
0. But now, are we budgeting anything for the lease?
The lease that we have been discussing is a deferred lease, which means we wouldn't pay anything in the first next year.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Explains that. And then, yeah, I wasn't making, it's that preliminary budget column. Thank you for, getting that there. So then, got it.
Can I ask a question while you're looking, Carol? I noticed that the work that we did in the golf budget brought down slightly, somewhat, the amount of money that we will have to draw from the general fund.
Correct.
But I think I am not finding $61,170 of that transfer. Can you, so there's 150, I see 150, but I don't see what makes up to the rest of that.
Right. Well, that is, in my mind, I guess I was optimistic when I did general fund that we had increased the rates. So worst case scenario in golf, but best case scenario in general fund. Because there was extra, we felt there was extra money that we may not have to fund for golf.
Okay,
Because
so
of the
because we're
increased
raising,
rates.
because we raised the rates.
Right.
But you also took out, some of the things that were in the capital side and moved them into another location,
Right.
which really is, that wouldn't affect it, but, the building and the laptop, things that we're going to buy in this year's budget comes out.
Right, right.
Right.
Okay,
Mhm.
Plus, that we're not transferring money from general over to golf this year to make it through the end of the year. So
say that last part again, Mike. I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
well, we transfer funds from general fund over to golf on a regular basis to cover expense.
Right,
And, even though those purchases are going this year, we're still going to have to make transfers to cover it.
right.
So yeah, we don't escape that transfer. Just looks a little bit better in the budget coming up.
Right, okay.
Okay. Then I guess my biggest question mark in all of this is I am very unclear on where the recreation budget is now.
Right now it's in the same spot. It's, if you look in the general fund
Right.
budget and you look at 7510, I think it is. So it'd be 01.
Yeah, so it's just that one line,
Right.
132,201.
Right.
But
So-
where? Mhm.
So what has to happen is I have to build that whole department in there. So I haven't done that yet.
Oh, got it.
But in
Okay,
order to
okay.
include it in the budget, this is how it shows right now.
So when will that be built down under there? Do we have to do that before we approve this?
No, because the total is correct. The total that you're planning on funding right now, that is the number, the 132 at this point in time. It's just not broken down into different items.
So
I mean,
that, Leah's just telling me she's in the waiting room.
Oh, yep, she is.
So Sally, I know you showed me today sort of your worksheet on working on that all, but I guess I feel like that 132,201, that's just the number brought from last year, right?
Correct.
Oh, because that's what the town is putting in.
Right,
So at least for now, that's what we're doing.
right. Until we come up with
And
the rec
we'll
budget.
do our budget and amend it in whatever way we need to for ourselves and for when they do it. So all we need is that number there.
For this, yes,
That makes me sweat a little bit.
right.
Once we integrate that in, we have to prorate that annual budget and turn it into an annual budget on our schedule. It'll be a
Yeah,
little
I
harder.
understand all that, and I have known that this was gonna be wonky at this time. But what I was hoping was that by now or by soon, I would be able, and Beth and Martha would be able to begin having a handle on that budget so that we can understand what you and I talked about today, Sally, the pieces moving forward.
Well, and that's what I was working on today.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
So we'll get there.
yes, we'll get there very,
Got it.
well, I'll be ready very soon.
Got it.
I was working on it.
Now I understand perfectly. Thank you. Hi, Lee.
Hi,
Glad you texted.
sorry, I've been here since the beginning, but I
We
was in the
got,
waiting room, so.
we got absorbed. Okay. Those were my major questions.
Anna, you have anything else?
I do not.
Beth?
No, I think, we're just gonna continue to work on that rec budget. So that's one of my main goals. But I think that, yeah, I'm good.
Lee, for your benefit, what we did at the very beginning, at our meeting last time, Sally, we had talked about some changes and questions that we had. So Sally had done a basic list of the changes that had been made to the tentative budget. So we went down through those. And have had our questions answered.
House, you have anything?
I have one question. The other day, Marty and I were at the Sustainability Committee meeting, and we're talking about trying to reduce our fossil fuel use. And I was looking under the sewer budget, 8130, the gas and oil heat is $63,000. I was just wondering, is that for heating the treatment plant, or what is that 63,000 for?
Under sewer?
Under sewer, I think 8130, if I have it right, is the number. It says gas, oil, heat. And I was just curious. I assume it's the treatment plant, but do we know?
8130 dash what?
It's -40700.
Well, there's.
Klaus,
a
can you
couple-
turn your volume down a little? Because you're really loud, and when I turn you down, I can't hear anybody else.
Okay.
Thanks. So there's
That better?
gas, oil that's
Yes.
8130-40300. That's gas/oil, and then 40700 is gas/oil/heat.
Yeah, that's the one I meant, the heat one. And I
Uh-huh.
was just wondering, we're trying to figure out alternatives to, more cheaply heat things and use less fossil fuel. Is that the treatment plant? Mike, do you know, or Sally, is
That is
that
the
what,
treatment plant, yeah.
that's the treatment plant? Uh-huh.
There's a couple things going on over there. They have 2 electric air blowers, but they have 1 engine
Mhm.
that runs as an air blower.
There's still an engine running an air blower?
Yes.
Oh,
And-
Okay.
and it needs to be there because we don't have a backup generator
mhm.
big enough to power the 2 blowers,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
2
Okay,
electric
I
blowers.
just was wondering.
That's
So
part of
part
it.
of that isn't heat, part of it is running that engine.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There used to be 3 engines in there. There's now only 1, and that's there for backup.
Okay.
And then there's the generators there. You know, in the future, we need to consider putting a backup generator in that's capable of running what's there,
Mhm.
and eliminating that last engine.
And so what's the distinction between that line that's gas, oil, heat and the one above that's gas, oil?
That's gas and oil for vehicles.
Vehicles. I believe
That's
I've asked that question before too.
Yeah,
That
that's,
other one, fuel for like vehicles and equipment and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep. Okay. I'm good.
I think, Klaus?
Mhm.
So,
Can you guys hear me all right? Is my volume okay?
That's much better.
can hear you a lot better now.
Okay.
Are there any other changes that anyone would like to see?
Sally, what was the number that you guys had for the CHIPS funding? What was the number that I had in there? Can you tell me that?
Yes, I think it was 76.6. Yeah, 76.
Yeah, and actually I had a question mark by that to see if there was an update on that.
Yeah, so as of today, we're looking at about 135,000.
Mhm.
I like to hear that.
Wow.
Mhm. That's
And
that's good news, right?
it could go up, it could go up a little more, but that's a pretty sound number there right now.
Mhm. That's great.
So what does that mean then, Sally? What do you do now?
Well, first of all, we'd like to make sure that that is 100% guaranteed. The other, we could just wait till we know for sure, so we get it in writing that that's what's going to happen.
And
then
what
we-
they'll be doing, they'll be sending out a certified verification letter in 2 to 3 weeks. And that'll be the binding letter, what we have there for funds. So.
Yeah, so then at that point, we would amend the budget, and then Marty could also speak with the board about projects that he would like to add.
That he could add because of that.
Right,
Right,
or
got it,
he
okay.
could carry it over for next year, depending on what he has planned.
Great.
I mean, that's pretty much an in and out type of thing. So we account for it in the budget, but it's an in and out.
Yep.
So. Right, but that's Sally's answer was exactly what I was looking for, how you handle the mechanics of that last minute substantial increase. I mean, that's
Well,
close to
and
double.
normally you won't have that. I think it was just because of the COVID year and they held back.
Mhm.
Normally you got a set amount every year and it fluctuates very little, but because of what went on, some things really got taken away and then given back, and then they gave back a little bit more. So we're gonna be so.
Sally, how does that, if the number is usually about in the same ballpark, is it about 135? Is that more our usual ballpark?
That's more than our usual ballpark, yeah,
More than.
yes.
So next year we would, well, who knows about next year, because with
Right.
all the infrastructure money coming, it may be.
It may
there
be
or even
twice
more.
that, who knows?
Mhm. Mhm.
I have a question. 119904000. That's like the third page in section 6. I thought that was gonna be adjusted that was where there was a carryover error from into Excel or whatever, but I don't understand the preliminary budget number there.
I'm sorry, where are you saying, Hannah?
Sorry, it's 11990400000. Bottom of the third page, section 6.
So as you know, we took out the $200,000
Right?
for the street sweeper, but we added some additional items. So that's where I put the difference.
I see.
So this is contingency account.
Okay.
So is that the sweeper lease?
That is a street sweeper lease if that happens,
Got
right?
it.
If we get a bill this year, but it shouldn't be until next year.
But it's there if we need it.
Correct. Which I have those, Marty supplied those lease amounts for me and I can share those with you if you'd like.
Didn't we see those or did we just see?
I don't know if
Zamboni?
you did, Marty, did you send to everybody or? It was
Um,
78,000, I think was the.
Yeah, I
I
think so.
think either he did or you or Mike forwarded it to us.
Okay,
Yeah, I recall 78.
Mhm.
And multiple years too, maybe?
Th-
Differences
three or
in
five.
different years, yeah.
Yeah, you could go 3, 5 or 7 years.
Right. And
Obviously, if you want,
suggested 3.
you know,
And we're
the
doing the
lower
3.
the payment, the more years you want, obviously.
We're looking at going for 3. And then
Right.
we discussed the maintenance side of it.
Mm.
And it looks like because of a 3-year lease, it is economically not worth doing a maintenance package.
Mhm.
The things that we would go through are not included in the maintenance package. Brushes and brooms are not included in the maintenance package. So
Oh. Mhm.
So does that raise a concern for you in terms of leasing versus buying anyway?
Oh, I think that Marty and I both agree that leasing's the way to go.
Okay. Okay.
I would like to say to you, as long as I am here, I will lease everything that I can.
I like that plan.
Sounds
And
good.
would your idea, Marty, be to, I know I asked this question last time and would your idea typically be to also buy the maintenance package? Or to assume that our group, our people would do the maintenance?
Well, so when you look at a sweeper, it's kind of a different piece of equipment than, so I understand when I talk to the salesman that, you know, with a 3-year lease and as many hours as you put on a sweeper, we might not even have to do an oil change for maybe the 3rd year, you know what I mean? Because you don't put a lot of hours on it in a year. The major thing on a sweeper is gonna be your broom, your bristle, you're changing out your brooms and your air filters.
Mhm.
Other than that, it's a pretty standard piece of, it's, you know, and we're not really using it a lot. And any other piece of equipment like a loader or something, yeah, because that gets a lot of wear and tear.
Hmm.
And that makes sense to have maintenance packages on those.
Mhm.
That's good.
Mhm. Makes sense.
And one other thing, I gave Sally the breakdown, because I guess the last time we talked on the funding for the different playgrounds. So I broke them up into each one. The higher amount I had going to the international tennis and pickleball courts at Priest Field. That's where a lot of the funding, most of the funding would go. And then I had the next would be the Buck Street Playground and then the playground out at Taylor Park, so.
Mhm.
Never mind. I guess I'm a little concerned about, not concerned, but I'm just curious about this whole, that $25,000 for the playground. Is there a reason that we can't know who the possible funder is?
No, it's the company that's doing the Highlines through the whole North Country. Michaels,
Yeah,
they were in the office when they first came here offering to come up with something that they could help us with. Now that they want to fly helicopters in and out of the cul-de-sac up there, my plan to approach them to say, hey, we need some funding for a playground. What can you do?
Maybe you'd like to ask if they want to buy a golf course. Maybe.
Because we got to do is lease that thing for $1. Be money ahead. Now that's in the minutes.
There.
So you were mumbling, so I didn't hear a word you said, or you wanted it in there so that you could go public with that.
I'll tell you, anybody asked me, I've told them the truth. For years, nobody believed me, but I know the numbers now.
As we all do. So this is
yeah,
good.
and I think I did share that with the golf course staff to clarify that piece of information, which I think wasn't clear there either.
Mhm.
Which does speak to, I think that what we need to do is try to get a little bit better budget information out to them so that they have an understanding what they're looking at too. But I like that idea of, whatever playground and or other recreation support we can get from Michael's would be great.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Sure.
That's the plan. I have to crank Jerry up a little bit because he's supposed to do a little MOA for me between us and them, just to make sure all the details are ironed out. The jail, the sheriff doesn't want helicopter flying over the jail. Nobody thinks
Seems
anybody's
fair.
trying to break out. So that's all. He'll have it here soon.
Great.
Okay, so our next step is public hearing for this.
Public hearing.
Public hearing at the beginning of our meeting next week.
21st.
That would
Is
be
that
the case.
Sounds good.
Is it
Um,
5:30 or 6?
We already have one public hearing at 6:20. This one we were going to do at 6:30. And it would just, our regular meeting would just follow after.
So
Oh,
it would
Okay.
just be part of our, we do that and then move on.
so
Okay.
the start of things will be 6:20.
6:20 for the resolution on community solar.
Yep.
Yep.
And then, at 6:30, we'll start a public hearing on the budget. If it's like any other year, I would suspect that there probably wouldn't be much participation. We're not raising taxes, we're actually lowering them a little bit. And so that's where
With
we're at.
these changes, Sally, what does that do to that number? Was it mostly just moving money around?
It was moving money around and it's, everything else is pretty much the same. It is the same because I put that extra money in contingency.
So what's contingency now?
It was $146,500.
Great. That's a good chunk.
So that's the plan. If there's anything specific you want on the agenda that for next week, I will send you the re-up contract for Wallens Golden and Manu, Romer, Wallens Golden Manu. It's time to re-sign. They don't want any increase for next year. So I waited to send that out until about a week before. I didn't want to get lost in the shuffle.
Yep,
it was
that's
asked
great.
to do an Arbor Day proclamation. So right now, there's not a ton on the agenda, but I'm sure that it'll start adding up.
Yeah, I think there will be some things coming up.
And, we do have a joint meeting coming up that I think, if there's anything specific that you folks want to talk about between us and the town, let me know.
Will do.
There's a couple things that we're going to be
I'll
dealing with.
be delighted to know that we'll be reviewing the shared services agreements Perhaps we'll do that at the end and you can pour drinks just before that.
Maybe I'll do it from home. I got ice at home, you know. I'll bring my ice bucket in.
There you go.
Other than that, I don't have anything else. Looks like we're set.
Fantastic.
Unless any of you have anything else. Carol, I'll probably give you a call here in a minute. I got a question for you,
Okay,
a rec thing, doesn't need to be in the minutes. So, other than that, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
A
Second.
second?
I assume that was a motion to adjourn.
Well, yes, it is a motion to adjourn.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. We're out of here.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hey, guys.